Good morning, Ivy designers. I hope everybody's having a great start to their Friday. I am so excited to be here with you, especially today because we have some very special guests joining on our webinar about how to navigate the world of purchasing agents. And this idea came about because I was speaking with Mary, who's one of our co-hosts today, and she mentioned that she speaks to so many designers regularly who have no idea that the Ivy Discover section exists and have no idea how to utilize purchasing agents. And this kind of came as a shock to me because it is one of my favorite parts about Ivy, and really one of the best ways to bring your business to the next level. And I know that I am really excited to bring on Kim and Mary. I hope that you guys are all excited as well. I do want to remind you that this is recorded, so if you have to leave at any point, no problem. I will send you a link to watch the replay after this airs. And if you do have any questions over the course of this webinar, please make sure to submit them using the Ask a Question button below, as we will not be able to see the chat that is coming in. And we will address as many questions as we can at the end of the session. So can I confirm, can everybody hear me and see me okay? I guess I should have asked that first. Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Marcy. Perfect. So without further ado, I know that people are trickling in right now. I would love to invite on screen both Mary Gorman and Kim Sperr, and I will introduce them as soon as I invite them on. And just to let you guys know a little bit about what we will cover today, we're going to talk about why purchasing agents are so amazing, how you can take advantage of purchasing agents, and we will also talk about some frequently asked questions, best practices and suggestions, and handle everything. All right, so here's Mary.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Mary. And we are just waiting for Kim to come on screen. I imagine she'll be on screen in just a moment. And hello, Kim.
Oh,
hi. Kim. Fantastic. I'm so happy to see
you here.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mary. That should be perfect. You're still a little bit dark, but...
Okay. I'll lean a little closer.
Fantastic. Good morning to you, ladies. So let me tell you both a little bit about Kim and Mary. So Kim Sperr of Vitoch Interiors also works with Tracy, who we love. Vitoch has been in the interior design business for over 40 years, and they've grown from a single location in upstate New York to locations in Newport Beach, California, and Providence, Rhode Island. As Vitoch has grown geographically, they have welcomed the opportunity to work with designers throughout the country, and Ivy is an important part of that growth. And Mary, who just stepped off, I believe she's turning on the light. No, you're fine. Mary Gorman of Coco Interior Design. Mary has had a brick and mortar store in Ridgewood, New Jersey since November 2004, which originally opened as a window treatment franchise. In September 2012, Mary Gorman's business transitioned fully to the world of interior design, primarily as a retail operation, and now in the realm of interior design projects as well. Mary is actually based in Naples, Florida, and works exclusively as an Ivy purchasing agent. In her past life, she worked on Wall Street and in the investment banking world. So we are so excited to have you both here today. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
And I want to talk a little bit about why you two are here today. Personally, I know you both. I've met you both in person, and you are both probably the earliest adopters of the Ivy Discover Network and the purchasing agent section. And as such, I think you are super seasoned in being able to speak to this and how designers can actually take advantage of your services that you offer. So again, if you have any questions, you're tuning in, please use the Ask a Question button below and we will answer them at the end. But without further ado, I'm just going to dive right into it and ask you ladies both a couple of questions. Starting with Mary. So let's talk about background. In general, what is the benefit of sourcing from a trade versus a retail vendor?
Well, I think it simply comes down to bottom line profit. We have lots of experience also because we are intimately familiar with individual vendors and can pass that along. We've been dealing with these vendors and we know all the variables involved, such as pricing, shipping costs, restocking fees, drop ship fees, etc. And we also have relationships with our sales reps that can help us navigate particular issues, problems if they arise. Yeah.
Fantastic. And for Kim, in general, what does it take to connect with and open an account with a trade vendor as a designer, as somebody who potentially does not have a brick and mortar retail store or showroom?
Well, that is part of the problem. A lot of the times when you are getting a trade vendor, they request or they require that you have a brick and mortar or you have a showroom because they want their goods shown on your floor. Mm-hmm. That or they need to not be represented in your area already. So they're looking for somebody that can help them in that regard. A lot of the times they ask for a large stocking order mm-hmm. in order to become a trade vendor, or they require yearly minimums. And if you're able to accommodate all those things, they will take you on as a trade vendor. Because we've been in the business for so long, we've been able to establish those relationships. And then we found Ivy and had the opportunity to work with designers that were not able to get trade accounts. So that's how we got to this point.
Fantastic. Mary, did you have something to add to that?
No, I think Kim summed it up nicely. Yeah, I know for lots of my vendors, in order to open up, it was a very hefty open order. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's tough to get there. And the other requirement is, like Kim said, a brick and mortar location. So, fortunately, we get this great pricing as a result of our years of doing business with specific vendors, and can open up those accounts to Ivy designers.
Fantastic. And that's something that I actually hear a lot just from, new designers or people who are new to the industry, that they don't have these accounts and they're expected to have a minimum opening order of $25,000. And when you're trying to buy a one-off item, that is really, really hard to do. It's even harder to navigate this world of, I see conversations in the designer network all the time in our Facebook group about people saying, how can I avoid getting shopped? And, it's something that that all of the interior design industry is struggling with e-commerce today. But I think that one really great thing that designers can do is simply order from trade vendors, get better pricing that will make them more competitive, or find things that are not available at retail, find those custom pieces to really end that shopping nightmare as it is. So good to know that it is a super difficult process, and that's something where you both can take advantage of that. So Mary, can you tell us a little bit about what exactly a purchasing agent is and how designers can utilize purchasing agents in general?
Okay. So within Ivy world, a purchasing agent is somebody who has accounts with vendors and will sell to Ivy designers through their accounts. Ivy members can simply access the Discover area within Ivy, bring up the purchasing agent section, and if looking for a specific vendor, type it in the search bar, and the purchasing agents who have those accounts will populate. Let's see my notes here. I always advise Ivies who are utilizing the purchasing agents for the first time to send out for multiple quotes and see who comes back, who has the best pricing for you. and then develop a relationship with a specific purchasing agent who you like to work with and who has those accounts that are your go-tos.
Yeah, and I see that a lot. I see, especially for the designers who have been utilizing you guys and the other purchasing agents in our Discover section, which I will demo for everybody how to do that at the end of this session. I see a lot of people say, oh, I order Lee from XYZ and I order Vanguard from XYZ. They eventually, for those specific vendors, have the specific purchasing agents that they work with, which is exactly what we want. You know, we want you to be the point person. We want you to be the go-to person for a specific trade vendor, almost as if you have your own rep. You know, you essentially become the rep for a specific vendor for these designers.
What I discovered also is certain accounts, the volume that we do, and I'm sure Kim has experienced this also, the volume that we do with specific vendors will also get us better buying power, which I was very surprised with. I have one specific account in mind. You know, I apparently reached a certain threshold and my sales rep called and said, well, now you're bumped up to this other category, which benefits everybody. So
Agreed.
I think it's probably a good thing that purchasing agents are the go-tos for certain vendors, because then in the long run, everybody will win.
Amazing.
Yeah, agreed.
Amazing. Kim, can you tell me a little bit about, I know that you each have a little bit of a different system in terms of what it takes for a designer to actually work with you. Do designers have to have resale licenses? What is your process like specifically, Kim?
If somebody wants to get pricing from us, we just ask that they email us through the Discovery link, or once we've established a relationship, just they have our email address and can just send us information, everything you can think of, the item number, the fabric grade, the finish, any information you've got, a photo, a link to the vendor's website, whatever you've got, get it to us. And that makes the process a whole lot easier for Mary and I and the other Discover agents to get you the pricing back quickly. And what we do is we take the information, we'll put it in an Ivy proposal, and we'll send it back to you. If you've decided to place that order, or your client has ordered the goods, then you simply send us a purchase order with all the item detail on it, and you pay using the link that's attached right to the purchase order. It's very, very easy. If you do not want to be charged tax, we need to have a copy of your resale license on file.
Okay. Fantastic. I know, Mary, I think you had mentioned that you do things, you just need a same thing where you get the quote, but then once it's confirmed, it's again the same process of sending you a PO through the Ivy system and submitting a PO.
Right. I just recently tried to do it by invoicing rather than having them send me a purchase order. Didn't work.
Trial and error.
Yeah,
it worked.
It's about anything in Ivy is about finding the system that works best for you and your day to day. So
we're all learning through this. So my suggestion to anybody is, if you need more from us, please let us know, because this is a learning curve for all of us.
Absolutely. I think it is all over the place. Like in life, I think everything is a learning process. So I'm happy to hear that you're able to learn and then learn from those things and just switch things up accordingly. So I would love to hear from both of you, because this is a question that we actually get on the support side a lot, is what happens if an item is damaged or upon delivery? How do you handle returns? I would love for you both to kind of speak to this if possible.
I will start.
Okay.
Photos.
Yes.
We need photos from every angle, up, down, sideways.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have photos. If it appears as if some packaging has been compromised in any way, the minute it's taken off that truck.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be inspected right then and there. That being said, a lot of that happens if you've got a very strong relationship with your receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And we will do everything we can
Mm-hmm.
to get your item replaced. But a lot of times the vendors require, if they don't replace it, if it can be fixed on site, or the receivers have somebody that can come in and fix the item, that sometimes is their first go-to rather than make it a replacement.
Interesting.
So we will absolutely advocate for you, for us. We will do whatever we can. And sometimes it's a long process and we're sorry, but it goes back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. So photos, I saw Mary, you nodding your head, during the whole photos. I think that's super important.
I have to say that I probably get at least 2 claims a day.
Wow.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
How many items come in damaged.
Yeah.
It's shocking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I would say is, please keep the original packaging. Don't throw anything out. Don't let your receiver throw anything out until it's in your client's home, it's signed off. Mm-hmm. Because that's another issue. If it's not returned in the original packaging and it's damaged, the claim's done. Yeah. They will not help you at all. So that's really important to note as well.
Mm-hmm.
Words of
but to make sure that your receiver, because I hear from so many designers, well, my receiver didn't open it for 4 weeks. It was sitting there. Receivers are famous for this.
Yeah.
I have come across very few receivers that open things, the day that they come in. It's just part of the business, but it's very time consuming. And like Kim said, it takes a lot of time sometimes to get these issues resolved. And sometimes I feel bad because I don't want designers to think that we're not following up and doing our job, but it can take weeks sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had situations where we've had things resent and those things are damaged yet again.
What a nightmare.
So it's frustrating. It's very frustrating, but it's part of the business.
It is. And I think that's something
that we're doing everything we can.
Yes, absolutely.
We really are.
Yeah. So just in terms of damages, excuse me, some words of advice. Have the receiver open things and inspect them immediately upon delivery. Mm-hmm. Develop that relationship with your receiver. Make sure that all the original packaging is kept. And if anything is to be damaged, we need photos, every which angle for the claims to be processed. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Okay, fantastic. I think that's really important because Mary, you said twice a day you're getting claims, and I'm sure Kim, it's something along those lines as well. And it's just, it's something that you need to manage as well. And really happy to hear those tips for our designers. And then speaking of tips, Mary, I know earlier you had given a tip about what you suggest if to do if a designer has yet to work with a purchasing agent, which was to send the request for quote basically to, as many different purchasing agents when you're at least getting started to understand the types of pricing that you can receive. Do you have any?
And let me clarify that, Sivan.
Yeah.
Yes, I would suggest only doing that when you first start, because it does take a lot of work to quote, a lot of manpower. And if you need more manpower, that increases prices. So I want to reiterate, only do that when you're just starting to utilize the IV purchasing agents. In fairness to everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. I understand the types of pricing that you can get for a specific vendor and then develop that relationship.
Yeah. And we want to feel as much a part of your team as you feel as our team. Like we're within the same company. We're all working together.
Yeah.
And in order, we just have to have great relationships with each other and enjoy what we do and support what we all do and what we're going through regarding returns or delayed items or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We just all need to be on the same team and support each other in it all.
I love that. I think that really plays into everything that Ivy is about, with the community over competition mindset and just really empowering others to take their business to the next level. And this is such an easy way to do so. I think I'd seen a question earlier. So I want to actually move on to some of the frequently asked questions that you ladies receive.
Can I mention something?
Yes, of course.
Kim had just said about delayed items. That is an issue, as everybody well knows. And I get quite a few designers wanting to cancel because I'm assuming they're getting pressure from their client. And I think Kim and I should just speak a little bit about cancellation, because when somebody cancels, I don't have a problem with it, obviously, because 9 times out of 10, yes, you can cancel an order as long as it's not a custom order. However, we have already done the legwork and worked on putting that all together, and we've also paid the 3% credit card fee if that's how the purchase order was paid. So I think people need to understand that, yes, we can cancel, but you need to pay that 3% fee and sometimes pay the commission on that cancellation.
Yeah, and maybe that's something that we can all discuss, what the designers think is fair, because like Mary's saying, we're all new to this, and the cancellations they take a lot of time, and we understand. It happens to us all the time.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So if you have any suggestions of how you think best to handle it, we're listening.
I think that's really important. I think it's just important to reiterate and to be considerate, just as a designer would want their client to be thoughtful in the selections, to have that same respect to the purchasing agents and almost approach when, okay, this is finalized, we have agreed upon it, I have collected payment. I think that's really important. I think it is just as much you have to manage your relationship as a designer with your clients as well as with your vendors, and in this case, purchasing agents, and show that same respect that you hope to receive in return. So,
which we just saying that the respect is absolutely there. It's just the lack of understanding. When you try to explain the 3% credit card fee, there's not anything we can do about that. And as much as we would love to do the cancellation for you, we can't take the 3% loss.
At some points that 3% loss is pretty significant when you're talking about furniture for when you're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. So completely understand that.
Get asked, can you just put it back on my credit card? Well, that's another 3%. So the answer for me is no. I need to send you a check for that.
Or hold it as a credit. If we do business a lot, just hold it on a credit. In your next order, you take the deduction and you pay less on the next order. And which tends to work very well as well.
Good. Repeat business. Fantastic. So each of you, do you have a question that you are most frequently asked that we can address here on the public stage? Is there a question that comes in a lot repeatedly, whether it's a logistical question, or I know we've already gone over a lot of topics so far. Do you find designers asking about what it takes to work with you or have a resale license, or is it really just all across the board?
Well, the first thing, go ahead, Kim.
Go ahead, Mary.
The one thing that popped into my mind when you sent that, Sivan, was as soon as people place the order, they want tracking. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen that way. But I get constantly asked, oh, well, do you know when it's going to ship? Do you have the tracking? The next day after the order is placed. It depends on the vendor. Some vendors, in-stock items, they will ship out the next day, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, sometimes a month. It makes sense to me how they stay in business that way, but that is probably the most often asked question.
And so I have a follow-up question to that, actually. Can you explain a little bit more, while we're talking about the process of working with a purchasing agent, how the tracking actually works. Do you notify that the designer when an item ships, like, or do you just forward the confirmation you get from the vendor? Or like,
I try my best to do that.
Yeah.
Do I do it every single time? No.
I mean,
it's nearly impossible because there's just way too many orders going on.
Yeah.
So every morning, what I do when I get up is I look at my emails and I see all the emails that came in shipping, and I forward those to the designers. Some vendors don't send you those emails. They don't send you the tracking. You have to go to the back end of their website to get that information. Some days it just doesn't happen because there's too much going on.
Yeah.
Too many orders processing.
It's a good problem to have.
But and I always tell Ivies to, if you need that information, just pick the phone up and call me. That's the best way to get it.
Fantastic. And Kim, same for you. Is there a question that you receive or anything that you want to add to the process that Mary just discussed?
No, we try to do it as well. You know, it all depends on the time of the day. Try to get the tracking information to everybody as quickly as possible. The thing that we run into a lot is regarding shipping. You know, we can tell you, here's the tracking number, but it's when it's leaving North Carolina and it's going to Northern California, it can sit at that trucking company for a week while they're waiting to fill up a truck. And that is something that we have no control over. We try our best to give you the information still sitting there, not on the truck. The truck's supposed to leave on Friday. It's supposed to get there in a week, but that's an issue that we have a lot. But, you know, we try to get you the information we can. The one question that we see a lot, not only directly to us, but on the Facebook, is the discount from vendors. What is your discount? We don't have a typical discount because every vendor is different. Sometimes it's different vendor to vendor, item to item within a price sheet. So if you want a price, just send us an email. Ask us for the price and we'll get to you. We try to get back to you as soon as possible. I think that's the best way to do it. There's no across the board 25% off retail. You know, it's just, it can't happen with all the different vendors we work
Absolutely. With. I think that's really important to remember. And it's always, Mary, like you said, easiest way to get in touch with you, email or phone call. Kim, same thing. I know that you are also super open with that as well. Email or phone call. You have your Ivy ordering email address. So I think that's really important. It's just, if you want pricing, just ask. Fantastic. So, sorry. So what I'm going to do right now, ladies, is I'm going to simply just show what the Discover section, how it works. It'll just take 2 seconds. And then we'll turn to some questions. So if anybody tuning in has any questions, you can submit them using the Ask a Question button below, and we will address as many of them right after I demo how to actually the Discover section. So can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
Fantastic. So as Kim and Mary mentioned, they are vendors on the Discover section of Ivy. And here, this is an area that you can find any professionals that you're searching for, 3D rendering, if you're looking for a bookkeeper who works with Ivy and QuickBooks, all that good stuff. But here, we're specifically talking about purchasing agents. So what you can do is you can simply search for a specific vendor that you are hoping to work with. And coincidentally, we have Vitoch and Mary right over here. And I just searched for Vanguard, and you can actually see all of the different purchasing agents who do carry Vanguard. And it's really easy to reach out to any of our purchasing agents simply by clicking the contact button. And this is the exact type of RFQ process that both Kim and Mary were talking about, sending as many details as possible over here with the product information, the vendor, and the SKU. And of course, you can always see the different lines that any of our purchasing agents carry right over here simply by clicking on their profile. So it's really, really incredible. This is such an amazing tool for designers who don't have access to these and don't want to meet a minimum purchasing order and don't want to just, you know, order 10 items and just need a one-off. This is an incredible resource to take. Kim and Mary offer really, and all of our purchasing agents offer really competitive pricing. And it's a way for you to extend a discount as a designer to your client. Make more money. That's the one thing that I want to reiterate.
That's
what we're here for.
That's the key. That's what I want to reiterate. When I promoted this webinar on Facebook, immediately comments just started coming in like, I make so much more money using Kim and Mary and Vanessa and all of our other purchasing agents, because that's the goal. If you as a designer have access to, let's say, a trade pricing of 10 to 20% off, Kim and Mary have retail stores, they have showrooms, they have much better relationships with these vendors, and they are, going to help you out. So that's the key here. All about the Ivy community is just help each other out. Let's empower each other to be more successful and grow our businesses. So with that, ladies, I'm going to just open the floor to some questions. So let me go ahead and see. Michelle asked, I would like to know whether Ivy purchasing agents only specify products sold by house. I can answer that. No. No. And if you guys want to expand, you saw all the different lines that Kim and Mary both carry.
No connection.
Yeah, no connection whatsoever.
Yeah.
No banner.
I don't even put the two together.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we're in it for you guys. Don't really think about house on the side. I don't even really know that much about house. We're in our own world doing our own Ivy
Definitely.
thing.
Cindy is asking, do you have to have a receiver to purchase through you?
Yeah, well, you should have a receiver.
Go ahead, Mary.
Well, it depends on the vendor and the product that you're ordering. But if you're ordering furniture, yes, you should have a receiver. And I would always advise sending any large furniture type items to a receiver for checking before they go direct to your client. They can be opened, examined, damage can be picked up while they're there, that your client does not have to be made aware of, can be fixed. Yes, you want a receiver. And I've had a lot of Ivies ask me, well, I don't have a receiver. Can you recommend one? Well, Kim and I can both recommend lots of receivers around the country because we deal with so many different designers. And I've become pretty familiar, as I'm sure Kim has, with the receivers you want to use and those you don't.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. And, one thing that I just want to piggyback off of that is I see a lot of questions come up in the Facebook group in our Ivy Designer Network. If you're not yet a member, please join, where people are saying, what are the things, like the non-negotiables that I should invest in my business? Like and I think a receiver, a good bookkeeper, like those are two things that you really need no matter the size of your business. So definitely, I think a receiver is super important. But speaking of,
and establishing a relationship with that receiver.
Send them cookies.
Hop in on them. Get to know them. Send them cookies. Send them chocolate covered strawberries. Get your number one advocate.
Yes. Yeah. As we talked about earlier, especially when it comes to damaged items or items that need to be returned, your receiver is going to be that roadblock of taking the photos and keeping the original packaging. So I have a question from Adele, who is asking, I think, more best practice. Should I consider taking out special insurance as an interior designer?
That's a tough one. I don't know. We have insurance, obviously.
Right.
But I don't know how I can't answer to that question.
I can't either.
Okay, well,
sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Adele, I would recommend asking that in the Facebook group if you're not yet a member. I'm sure a lot of people can contribute answers to that. And also, there's a little search bar on the Facebook group. If you just look up insurance, I'm sure there have been so many discussions about this. Yeah, and it's just, everybody does things differently depending on where you are, what state you're in, what the laws are. So just I would just post in the Facebook group for that one. Kim, we have a request here. You mentioned restocking fees, drop ship fees, minimum order fees before. Can you expand on that, which I know is a very broad question, but
yeah, that is also a vendor to vendor thing. It just depends. We see it more in lighting than anything. if they're not sending it to our showroom, if they're not sending it to us, they will hit us with a drop ship fee. Sometimes 15, sometimes 20, sometimes 25, but I'd say that the average is about 20%. We try to always mention that up front on the proposal. At times we do forget, and we usually end up eating it because that was our error. But we are trying to cover all those
hidden fees potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
I typically roll it into the shipping, but yes, we do forget about it a lot.
Yeah.
And restocking fees, I would say typically 25%. So if you want to send something back, you're paying 25% right there. You're paying for the shipping that got it there, the shipping going back, and the 3%.
Interesting.
And
yeah, I know. And
right?
that could get really pricey. And it's about also confirming that when you order something or when your client orders something, it is almost a final decision. And I've seen a lot of designers in their memos to their own clients saying like custom fees or custom items are non-returnable, you know, just even setting yourself up for that standard of you break it, you buy it, you order it, it's finalized. Yeah. We have a question from Mary Ann, and I believe I can even answer this question. I think this might have been submitted before we talked about the importance of receiving warehouses, but she's basically asking if she has a large order where items are coming in at different times. Will you arrange for warehousing for the items until all items are in? And then do you offer an arranged delivery and installation? And I want to just go ahead and say, you need to do this with your receiving warehouse. You need to have a receiving warehouse to send your items to and to coordinate delivery, installation in one fell swoop.
Yeah, if you don't do that, then you're incurring your receiving fees and your everything twice. You're shipping twice. If it all came to Mary or I into our showroom or our warehouse, then you're going to pay twice for receiving and shipping.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Mele, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, is basically asking for a specific example of a discount that you would receive as a purchasing agent. I want to just answer that. As Kim mentioned, we can't mention discounts because there is nothing like a flat discount. Your best practice would be to simply reach out to Kim or Mary or any of our other purchasing agents which carry a specific line and ask for pricing and compare it with the pricing that you receive from your own vendor. So that is going to be the best practice. And it looks like we have one last question from Marcy. And do you sell upholstery to your clients without them sitting in it? Do some of the vendors have showrooms so that we don't have to shop in a furniture store that we don't intend to buy from?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That is a
one
good
we
question.
get all the time. I always encourage designers to attend trade shows, markets, so you can go in and personally sit in upholstery. Yes, can I speak to some of the vendors that I carry? I'm sure Kim can speak to the ones that she does. There are, depending on the location, the geographic location where you are, there are certain showrooms. I'm originally from the New York City area, so I
have a lot
of hickory chair upholstery, and I could bring my clients down to Lexington Avenue and have them sit, and that solved that problem. But that is a big problem. Yeah,
and even within the showrooms, they don't have every sofa, they don't have every chair, and that's where maybe the Facebook group is great to reach out to.
Yeah,
we can make our recommendations based on the orders that we've processed. People love Cloud9 from Lee Industries. Some people love it. It is their go-to. So we can offer it up as a suggestion, but it's not easy to be able to say, here's where you can go find.
And it'll vary city by city, of course. I imagine that like the bigger cities will have more access to showrooms. But I think your recommendation, Mary, and this is a great note to wrap up on, is just like one last best practice as a designer. Go to markets, go to Las Vegas, go to Go to Atlanta. Like there are so many of these markets at your fingertips year round, not just during, not just in January or June in Las Vegas. They happen year round. And it's a really great opportunity to develop those relationships with those vendors, meet them, feel the products, see them in person, understand what is coming soon so that you can have almost that exclusive offering to your clients. So I think that is wonderful. And with that, ladies, if there's anything you want to add, I would love to have you do so now. But you two are so amazing. I love that you have been such integral parts of the purchasing agent system in Ivy. So I do thank you for that and for your participation today. It's been really amazing to have you both.
Well, thank you. And I just want to say thank you to all the Ivy designers out there that trust the purchasing agents to be a part of your team. It's been fun and it's been great getting to know you. And I really look forward to my daily work because it brings so much more.
That's so fantastic.
Loving what I'm doing.
Amazing.
Loving everyone I speak to.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. Well, we hope to see you both soon at one of the markets or just in person. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you have a great weekend.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.